Joining me live for more on this, Sahar Khan from the Cato Institute's Defence and Foreign Policy Department. Thanks for your time. So the attack carried out by ISIS-K, an affiliate of ISIS, we don't hear as much, at least in mainstream media, about ISIS of late. Where are they at in terms of their capability and strength at the moment?
Well, thank you for having me on their show. So ISIS Khorasan is an affiliate of Daesh, or Islamic State, which is a much larger network, and they certainly have grievances with the Taliban. So ISIS-K has been functioning in Afghanistan since at least 2015, and they, in the past, have had a really hard time targeting Western service members and allied forces, and there was a counterinsurgency campaign against them in which they were rooted out. But in 2020, they were able to gain traction when they elected, or when they basically had a new emir or a new leader. And that leader has been a lot more brutal in doing suicide attacks and also killing Afghan national security forces, and also going after the Taliban as well. So Islamic State Khorasan is a much smaller group, but they share the same ideology as Islamic State. And unlike the Taliban, who is more focused on Afghanistan and maintaining control there, ISIS Khorasan has a more wider ideology. They are more interested in creating or making Afghanistan part of a caliphate instead. So this is a group we don't really hear that much about, but it is very much functioning in Afghanistan, and it has been targeting the Taliban for a long time.
How is the sort of, I suppose, tension, because the Taliban and ISIS-K have different ideologies? How is the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan going to play out? Will that actually possibly force ISIS-K out, or will it allow them to strengthen in certain areas of Afghanistan?
So I think what we're going to see is basically a clash between the Taliban and ISIS-K, and this is very indicative of what's going on the ground in Afghanistan in general. I mean, for the most part, in Western media and Western governments have always treated the Taliban as sort of the main, violent militant group operating in the country, but that's just simply not true. And I think what we're going to see is large clashes, and we should expect more attacks like this, especially because ISIS-K is kind of known for doing these kinds of brutal attacks and targeting civilians in particular. They view the Taliban as a group that has, catered to the West. And that does not share their ideology of jihad. And so I think that we're going to just simply see more clashes. And this is a really, really tragic day. And I think the violence is indicative of just a civil war that Afghanistan is experiencing.
The US leaving will create a vacuum. Obviously, in part, it's going to be filled by the Taliban. But what about Russia and China? Do you think they'll try to fill part of that vacuum, and what will they hope to get out of Afghanistan in a strategic sense over the next decade or so?
So, I think that's a great question. I think the future right now of Afghanistan is really unstable. It's really hard to predict. The Taliban, however, has certainly learned some lessons from when they were in power before, from the 1990s. So the past, at least 10, 15 years, they've been developing a foreign policy of their own. They've been trying to have bilateral relations with Russia and China and Central Asian states. They have a political office in Doha as well. And so the Taliban even coming out and condemning these attacks and saying that these attacks are terrorist attacks that are done because of foreign forces in Afghanistan, I think indicate that the Taliban are trying to make themselves more legitimate. And they are after recognition. They want the international community to recognize them. Now, in the 1990s, when they came into power, it was just the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan who had recognized them. But now they really are catering to Russia and China as well. Now, Russia and China, for now, have not recognized the Taliban. China has said that it would be friendly towards the Taliban, and Russia has also indicated that, but they have not officially recognized the Taliban yet.
We'll keep an eye on that. The Chinese foreign minister, of course, meeting with the Taliban before all of this played out fully. Look, we've got a bit going on, so we've got to leave it there. Sahar Khan, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.